In this video, we're going to go over my staffing and recruiting playbook. Now, for staffers and recruiters who might be watching this video, this is specifically for business development outreach. I know there's a whole other world of sourcing that you get into. This is not going to cover that. In my opinion, that's kind of a solved problem. Business development is what we're going to be covering here. And so, what I found working with staffing and recruiting companies is these are kind of the top three playbooks that we've used, and we're going to talk about each of them and how we set all of them up. So the most obvious one, and the reason why it is so difficult to get a positive response for staffing and recruiting, is the open jobs playbook. This is basically what every recruiting company is using, and I think we have a best in class take on how to do the open jobs playbook. But basically, everyone is running this play, and this makes it so that there's a lot of people reaching out to these people, like these CEOs, when they're hiring for a role, and it gets kind of tough. Traction metrics. This is more of a general take to just think about data. So instead of looking for companies with open jobs, you want to try to get them before they post that job and when they're thinking about posting that job. So traction metrics is anything in your industry that shows that they are successful and they, need to probably increase hiring. And we won't talk about that in the nitty gritty tactical workflow too much because it really depends on your industry in order to find traction at these companies. But we'll go over a couple of ideas. And then the third one, which is kind of the newest one that I've been working on, is finding employees that have left the company and then saying, oh, hey, like Bob just left the company. Are you looking to replace them just now? Like, we can help you replace them. And so this is probably like the least used playbook. I've never seen another recruiting company use this playbook at scale in a really automated way. But it's not like as flagship as the open jobs. And so when you're doing open jobs, Clay is, of course, a tool that you can use. What I would suggest also is checking out Appify.com. They have an Indeed scraper, and the Indeed scraper can scrape Indeed for exactly what you're searching for, and you'd be able to enrich the criteria from here. So you'd get the job title and you'd get the company name. And so the only bad part about getting the company name is you don't get the company website, which is a little bit tough. And so you can use tools like Clearbit or Apollo in order to turn the company name into a website, because that's usually, I tell everybody, if you have a website, you can, if you have a website, you can find people. And if you have a LinkedIn profile, you can find people. But without that, it's a little bit tough. And so you can use the Indeed scraper and extract data and then pull it into Clay. Oh, we're on our last example. And you could pull it into Clay, or you could just use Clay straight away. So there's the find jobs from LinkedIn data right here. And this is what we're going to be working off of for, our criteria here. So we'll just put in like sales. We're going to keep it super, super general. We'll put United States. And then what we want to do is, so we want to say has no recruiter. So we'll hit preview jobs. And maybe I should have limited the results actually, so it doesn't get so crazy. So we have 342,000 jobs available in the United States, which totally makes sense. So we'll just import this. And so my favorite way to run an open jobs playbook, and why I think it's like the best in class, is so I always work backwards from what is the message that I would send if I were to manually send a message, right? And so what we would do here is we're going to enrich this for the job description. And then, so we're going to put LinkedIn again. And then we'll get the company identifier. No. And then the job title keywords is exactly what we have inside of the table. Okay, cool. Now we're going to run this. And what we specifically want is we want the job description. So now we'll let this run. Just letting it run. Now that we have some jobs coming in, what we're going to do is we're going to use AI to basically pull out why they want to, like, if they were to hire somebody, what is the qualities of this person in order for them to be successful in the role. And so so basically what we want to be able to say is, so you're hiring for a commercial sales manager. I imagine, like from reading the job description, it looks like you need somebody who's capable of being blah, 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 because the job description said blah, blah, blah. And so we're going to say, using the input, create an inference, whoops, about what it would take in order for the person to be successful in this role. This is the job description. And now we're just going to like really make it obvious that this is the job description. Consider the most important quality the applicant must possess. Oh, whoops. In order to fulfill this job. Then quote in the job description where you made that inference from. So now what this is basically going to say, it's like, oh, if you're hiring a commercial sales manager, it seems like it would be important that they are on time because the job description said that you wanted them to be punctual. Sometimes though, AI is going to say the thing and then it's going to requote the thing. So it might accidentally say, oh, this commercial sales manager, it's important for them to be on time because the job description says that they need to be on time. So we need to tell it not to do that. So we're going to say output the inference in a sentence that is under 20 words and looks like this. And so then again, we're going to put a lot of quotes to show it. I saw that in order for the commercial sales manager to be successful, you need someone who is on time because the description said an employee, this person must be punctual. And then we're just going to put that there and then we'll go boom, boom, boom. When creating your inference, do not use the same words as what is in the job description to make the quote so it looks human. Follow my format in the example every time. So candidly, I'm trying to get this video done so that people would be able to get this done pretty simply. We would probably give it more examples down here where I'd copy and paste this and then I would give it an example and then I'd manually write like 2 so that it's like really on point for what we want, but I'm just going to let this run. And so then if there's any, yeah, okay. So for the most part, we nailed it. Maybe I didn't even need examples. Okay. So in order for the sales consultant to be successful, great. So you need someone with strong customer service skills because of the description, passion for technology, and exceptional customer service. Great. So now you'd be able to lead off with your email, basically showing that you've done research about what it would take for this person to be successful. And then you could say, I've got a couple clients, like a couple people, like, would you want to take a look at them and all those things? In my opinion, there's not a whole lot of ways to improve this playbook, but this is the best way, in my opinion, to improve this playbook where you're basically showing that you read the job description and like being able to reach out to them and say like, oh, it looks like you're searching for this person. Another thing you could do is you could enrich the company and you could find what the mission of the company is. And then you could use AI to be like, oh, like it seems like you're hiring for a commercial sales manager at this point. So that the company, and then you talk about what the mission of the company is and why they're probably looking to hire this person. One thing we've done in the past too is we've like scraped other people who hold positions similar to this and then say something. We only do this in follow-up emails, but say something cheeky like, oh, if you could multiply John on your team, Jake on your team, or Stephanie on the team, which one of them would you want us to find more people like that? So then It's also like a level of personalization where then they're also like, okay, they did their homework. This is obviously recruiting email. So there's like, this is the base of the play, but then there's like creative ways that you can go in and out of the playbook as well. I'm trying to think of anything else to mention too. You could also call out the most recently hired people and say like, "Oh, I saw you're looking for a commercial sales manager. I assume the team is growing because you brought on, you brought on Robert and you brought on Tiffany, and like you want to hire more people just like them. How can we help?" There's a lot of different ways that you can spice this message up with more criteria. So then traction metrics. I'm just going to speak about this a little bit briefly. There are some traction metrics that just let you know that a company is moving in the right direction. So website traffic is pretty good, although website traffic is really not amazingly accurate. What you want to do is you want to go to like SimilarWeb, and you could scrape SimilarWeb. You could use Claygent to do this, or there's other platforms like Appify that I was showing before that can scrape SimilarWeb. And so you're looking specifically for, there's a 3-month traction metric. Yeah. So see how it's been pretty flat for No Bull Project this entire time? So what we'd be looking for is somebody who's gotten a spike in 3-month traffic, and then that's some traction. Employee headcount growth is a form of traction. Opening up a new office is a form of traction. Recently receiving fundraising is a form of traction. Their social media pages gaining a lot of followers is another form of traction. So these are kind of different ways that we would split everything up and say, okay, we don't know that they're hiring right now, but here's some traction that we could be searching for in order to know that they're hiring. So, we could have all of that. Also, the fact that they just recently installed an ATS, you can use BuiltWith to do this. So if they just recently installed Greenhouse or Lever 2 months ago, you know that they're starting to take recruiting pretty seriously. Another thing that I think we should just go over is you also want to see like if they have an internal recruiter at all. And so I would use headcount for this. And so we would do find employee headcount by job title, and then we'd map the let's see, the company URL. And then I just want to look for, do they have a recruiter on their team? Do they have human resources on their team? And what else? Recruiter. Maybe they'd call them a sourcer. It's not really going to happen, and you want to know if they have these people on the team, because with these people on the team, they'd be able to, like, if they have these people, then they're probably all set. But if they don't have these people, then that's another good outreach that you could be doing. So we also score these companies when we're reaching out to see if they have recruiters on their team already. Because if they don't, then we know, okay, hey, we're not going to reach out to them because they might already have this taken care of. Another thing to do with traction is if they recently brought on a chief marketing officer, that's a great time to say, oh, like, do you want to fill up your marketing team? I'm sure you want to make it a lot of new hires. So that's a traction thing that you don't have to rely solely on the open jobs playbook here. And so this is just a way of thinking that it really depends on your industry. I can't really give hard things here because everybody has a different industry for what they're doing. Sometimes it's seasonal, like warehousing is very seasonal, and so things like that. And so the last play that I would just want to show as a part of this workflow is we could also use Clay to find people. So we're going to find people from LinkedIn. We can also use Clay to find people who just recently left a job. And then it's so funny. Usually we find people because we want to target those people. But in this case, we're going to like find these people to then target the companies that they used to work at. And then we're going to go find the decision makers at those companies and say, oh, like, don't you want to replace this person? So again, we'll just do sales again. And so we'll hit sales, United States. And now I want a person who maximum months in current role. I want them to be there for like 2 months. And keywords and experience description. We don't need that. We don't need that. I'm going to limit the results to like 250. And so now we're just going to run this. I'm going to pause so it just loads. All right, so we have all of these people. What we really want to do is we want to enrich their profile. So enrich person by profile, because what we really want is we want their experience timeline. So let's roll this through. All right, so now we have all of these people. What's up? Who is this? Riley. Okay, great. So Riley, I mean, I don't think I'd ever reach out to Riley. But I mean, sorry, Riley, it's just your sales associate, Harry. Summer camp counselor. Okay. So we have their. So what we want to do is see how we have the start date for. Yeah. So what we need to handle is like we need is current to be true. And we need the start date. So what we need to think about handling, just so you know what I'm thinking about right now, is the fact that sometimes people might have 3 experiences at a company and it's just completely different companies. So what we're going to do is we're going to filter this list of objects. And so our array is their experience. So we don't want the imported profiles. We want this. And so the array is their experience, and we're going to insert all. And then the filter field is, we need to, filter field, it's interesting in Clay. You have to like open this up. And then I want experience, and then I want this. And see how it's company underscore domain, all lowercase? That's how we're going to write it. So we're going to go company underscore domain, filter mode equals, and then the values, we're just going to put the company domain here. Actually, we're not going to do equals. We're going to say does not contain because I want that top one. So we'll hit this. So now this is going to bring a filtered list of objects. We're going to get the first one. So remember Riley, she was a summer camp counselor. So the first experience that does not include this company domain is what we're going to get. So now we'll do like this person writes their start date was here and then they left in April. And now if we just want to check this person, they started this job 2023-08, 2023-04. So it took them 4 months to find a job. Okay, cool. So now what we're going to map is basically, I want to take this first one and I want to say, okay, great. End date 2023-04-01. And then we're going to make a formula. So we're going to say, is this date from 3 months ago? And we just want to confirm that it was pretty recent. False, false, false. Okay, so somehow this isn't working. This just worked. So I think it's because the date is a little odd. So we're gonna hit normal, like format date and time. And so we're gonna map the date, the end date, and I just want it to look like that. And then we can run that. And now we'll write another formula. Say, was this date 3 months, within 3 months from now? And we map the date, format date and time. And then I want full date time. Sure, why not? Let's take that one, whatever. Okay, let's try this. Why is it saying true? This is so interesting. Oh, yeah, I kind of get that. So it might be just saying true because we're in like October and I don't know when it's actually counting it. So whatever, we'll just work with this. So we're going to run all of these. And so basically, so now this is funny because there's no input over here. So now what we can do is we can filter this and we can write one more formula to basically be like output true if formula is true and end date is not empty. I'll hit generate. Now we get this output for the ones that we want to reach out to. And so now these people, these actual people are good ones to reach out to. So we'll hit imported profiles, formula 1. We'll say is not empty. All right, so now we've turned this list into 57 people that we could actually reach out to. That now So Cameron works at Leviathan Security Group, right? As a sales development representative. They started 2023 0801, so in August, and they used to work at IXL Learning, and they left back in So they left back in August, right? So now we can reach out to this company and we could say, "Oh, hey, like I noticed that Cameron moved on from the company. You know, how have you thought about filling their position?" So then what we would do is so the way we're going to find this is we're going to say company we are reaching out to URL. So this is their old experience, right? This person left. They left 2023 0701, right? So they might still be searching for a person to replace them because it takes months to find these people, right? So now we can hit find contacts at company. We can have a company we were reaching out to URL, and then we can do like owner, president, CEO, whatever you want, like whoever your decision maker is. Run this, save and run. And now, like whoever the decision maker is, now we find these contacts, and then you can use write to table, in which I guess maybe I should just show you. Now we have all of these contacts, right? And so now what we can do is we can hit, exit. We can hit write to table on this. Actually, we could just come in here. Take action on list. Write each line to a new table. And now we would have to have a table ready, but this is exactly what it would look like. We would now write this to a completely new table. We'd map everything that we want. We would want to take this person's name because remember, Gino doesn't work at this company anymore. We're going to reach out to this person and say like, oh, like Gino, used to work there. And like Gino's not there anymore. What do you want to do about that? Right. And so we would use write to table to be able to do this. This is how you found your people. You could see all of my other videos of how you find the email addresses and everything. And yeah, so as far as I guess it didn't create the column. Whoops. So when it comes to staffing and recruiting, this is often the 3 playbooks that I tell people, hey, I think these are the really good ones for you to go after. And essentially how you set all of them up. So I hope this was helpful. I know that I basically did the top level here. I didn't show a full campaign setup. If anyone would want to see a full campaign setup, just comment on this video and I'll get it done eventually. I'm looking at a huge list of videos I want to do. But yeah, this is basically the way that we think about running playbooks for staffing and recruiting companies.